The Greater Mankato Area United Way is launching a new program to let donors and community members learn more about what their money is supporting. United Way announced last month they had finished their annual campaign, raising over $2.4 million to support local nonprofits. The theme of their first Tour of Giving today was Basic Needs and featured guest speakers with programs like Five Sparrows, Foster Closet, Lutheran Social Services Crisis Clinic, and Partners for Housing. As part of the tour, visitors got a first-hand look at local housing shelters in Mankato, like the Welcome Inn and Teresa House.
I think it's important for people to know about the different agencies that Greater Mankato Area United Way works with, so they can really see the full impact and the full breadth of the work that we are doing to secure those funds and to secure those resources and invest back into the community.
United Way hopes to host its next tour focused on mental health sometime this June. The plan is to begin the tour at a local school with speakers, including mental health navigators, United Way's Hope Squad, and other local resources.